It's We're live. Happy New Year. First live of the new year. Last year I made 126 videos public. So this year we're going to try to outdo it, and we're starting day one. So thanks for tuning in. Give me a thumbs up if you're tuning in on the replay. Today we're making habanero ketchup. We're going to make it right here. Here are our tomatoes. Let's get right into it. We've got more tomatoes even right here. We're going to use plum tomatoes. However, I ideally would use cherry tomatoes. And the quality of the tomato is going to dictate the quality of your sauce. So you definitely want to use good quality tomatoes for sure. So these are plum, but like I said, cherry are my favorite. Then we've got some spices over here, and let's get into it. I'm already prepared. I've got my habanero de-seeded. Hello, Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you, good to see you tuning in. So all I did was I took a knife around the outside like a jack-o'-lantern and pulled the seeds out. And actually, here's the seeds, and you can save these and grow habanero. But you don't want them in there unless you're a spice freak, because the seeds are much spicier than just this. But just this is sweet and spicy, flavorful, quite amazing. One of my favorite flavors. Peace, welcome. All right, so first I'm going to blend the tomatoes. I've got about 2 pounds. I didn't weigh them, but I picked out about 10 of these. So this should be 10. And if you're using cherry tomatoes, you can use 2 packages or 2 pounds. If you can even find cherry tomatoes anymore. The hotter the better, said Carla. You want to sweat? Okay, well then you can put 2 habaneros in there, or just 1 with the seeds in it would be plenty. But I'm going to put this right in here, and I'm going to blend these. It's going to be loud for a second, but let's see if I can. Well, sometimes I can get this to work, but this is the oldest blender I've ever had, and it has worked the longest, which is quite amazing. I'm not affiliated with them or anything, but it's quite amazing what this one has been through. So, geez, that didn't work whatsoever. I'm going to have to put a little bit of liquid in here. I want to blend them instead of food processing. And it's just not knowing that I'm live. All right. Once we get some liquid in here, we should be good to add a bunch of them in. And maybe I jinxed it by saying that this was the best blender. I'm just going to squirt some agave in there, because I'm going to add some anyway. I was going to add some later, but instead of adding water and then having it have to cook down forever, I'm going to add about 1/4 of a cup of agave, so that hopefully this will be liquid enough to blend. All right, good. All right, I've got one more. Oh no, I don't. I've got a bunch more. Last two. Wow, can it handle it? All right, I'm almost done with the noise, sorry. All right, whoa, all the way to the top. Okay, whew, loud and obnoxious. All right, now that that's out of the way, the rest of it will be much quieter and more interesting. So we had to do that though. So let's just go ahead and transfer this over into our pot, and it's all the way to the top. So that was like 10 plum tomatoes. That was about 2 pounds, but it was just a guess. And it's gonna make just enough ketchup that will last forever, unless you have a huge family. But I'm gonna use some of this for a recipe. So I'm making this for a special recipe I'm gonna make later today, I hope, or tomorrow, probably today. So I have to hurry up and make this so that I can make that next recipe. Okay, lights going on. That is getting out of here. Don't mind my tripod movement. Okay, I'm just gonna heat this up. Just gonna cook this away, and we're gonna start cooking it down, and then we're gonna add our spices. So I already added about a fourth of a cup of agave, but I think it's gonna need way more than that. And have some other spices right here, but we definitely need to get it heated up. So I'm going to turn it up to medium because I'm impatient, and then as soon as it starts boiling or bubbling, I'm going to turn it down all the way to the lowest it'll go. And then we will start tasting, and I'm going to get the rest out of the blender. And as we wait for this to heat up, you can comment, and I will hopefully see it. I can already hear it bubbling. That's quick. Now, I should have just strained it. I forgot. So if you're watching this, making this later, you can strain what I just poured in there, and then it won't be chunky. You'll have a nice smooth ketchup. Or you can strain it after, or you don't have to strain it. I mean, sometimes I just have it chunky. Depends. There'll be just little plum tomato seeds and skin. It's not the end of the world if you like the natural, natural cooking. it depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes, I want it really smooth and creamy. Sometimes it doesn't matter, and actually sometimes I prefer the seeds in it. All right, so it's already bubbling away, as you can see. I'm going to start seasoning it as it cooks down. So we've got some spices over here, and get this out of here. Now you can blend a half of an onion or a fourth of an onion in with that to make more of a barbecue sauce. So I'll give you some little tips like that as we go, because the barbecue sauce that I make is awesome. If I not to brag, but just to tell you that it's pretty good. So I can't pronounce your name, but I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Thank you for commenting. Someone just asked, is alkaline hot chocolate possible? And yes, it is, definitely. I make some myself, and actually, I'll give you a little peek. Look at that! Look at that! That's my secret ingredient for hot chocolate. So I talked about that in one of the other videos. My recipe for hot chocolate, I will tell you if you stick around. I need to just get something to stir this with, and then we'll be good to continue. All right, I'm going to use an old-fashioned wooden spoon. Someone asked, Renegade asked, can you make alkaline cocoa bread? I made brownies, so I don't see why not. What kind of cocoa bread are you thinking? Like, I've had a lot of different types of bread, so I'm trying to think of what cocoa bread is like. If you point me in the right direction, I will try to make some. Is there a certain style, Jamaican kind? Well, I have not tried it, but I will do my best. I'll look it up. Thank you for recommending it. Sounds interesting. I usually like Jamaican things, so definitely on my list of places to visit. Before I was vegetarian, before I was vegan, way back when I used to live in Japan, and there's actually there's like a community of, there's like a reggae and Jamaica influenced community in Tokyo, which is interesting, and supposedly there's some history between the two countries dating back to some of the royalty in Ethiopia had a Japanese princess or something. I'm trying to remember from over 10 years ago, but there's the first time I ever had any, well, maybe not the first time, but the best jerk chicken I ever had was in Japan. So to me, when I think of Jamaica, I think of Japan, because that's where I ate Jamaican food. That's weird, I know, but once I visit Jamaica, then I'll have it from the real. Well, I probably won't eat it there unless it's alkaline. I'll probably just have to look at it and sniff it. I can call you Tap. Okay. Thank you, Tap. And I would love to be able to pronounce things properly. So in the future, I will be. The only other language I speak is Japanese, and it's not really helpful in this. But hey, I learned it when I was younger, and I didn't do it for practicality, I guess. All right, so this is getting nice and hot. As it heats up, it'll get more and more red. Like right now, you can tell it's not very ketchup-y looking. And you can, if you want it to look even more red, you can use annatto, which is sometimes just used as a coloring, and it is acceptable. So I might put some in, depending on how it looks at the end. That's going to be that'll be the final touch if it needs it. All right, this is ready. It's ready for the next step. And the way that I make sauces, which I love making sauces, I usually do it to taste. And okay, I'm going to turn this down. I had it turned up too high. It's definitely hot now. So I'm just going to gently cook this down while I season it. Most of the seasonings will not be measured, but I will measure the tamarind puree because, you know, that might be hard for you to just guess. But we're going to put in a little bit of clove. And it's important to not overdo the clove, or you're going to be having clove sauce. So you just want a pinch, and actually a half a pinch. So this is how I do it. This is my technique. I'll try to wrap my hands around the camera. Just give it a little tap. See, someone asked, Carla asked, most people use annatto for color, but can you use it for flavor? Yes, it has a slightly saffron flavor, but you should only use a little bit because if you add too much, it will be bitter. Okay, so I'm gonna just tap it in. And if you're not confident about measuring, then do it in a little dish separately and then pinch some in. That way you're not accidentally dumping. But you know how flour or powder sometimes cakes to the bottom, and then when you tip it and it avalanches forward? You want to avoid that. So I'm just going to tap it until it's at the edge. Oh, see that? It is just enough to visibly appear, and that's it. And if it needs more, I'll add more later, but you don't want to add too much clove or you will be tasting weird. It's great in small amounts. All right, just want to make sure none of this gets burnt to the sides. Okay, so there's a little bit of clove. Smells good. It's starting to smell very, very tomatoey in here. Now I'm going to have the sea salt. Where is it? Got some pink sea salt somewhere. And I thought I had everything. Okay, here we go. So we're going to add about a half teaspoon at a time. This is probably going to take a couple tablespoons of salt. Yeah, so I'm going to start with more than this. Trying to do it on camera. So there's about a teaspoon. This is going to be pretty salty and sweet because it is a sauce. It's not a meal. This is just for very flavorful sauce. The habanero will give it plenty of natural flavor. It smells like tomato for sure already. It would be hard not to. It smells like, actually, when I was a child, I grew up on a farm and we used to can tomatoes, which I don't really like, didn't really like those, but the smell is bringing me back. As I get older, I appreciate those type of things more and more. Okay, we're gonna put a little bit more spice. We're gonna add some ground ginger, and I debated adding fresh ginger, but I think ground is a little better for this type of ketchup-y flavor. So I'm gonna put a little bit more than I put clove. That was probably a big pinch. So a big pinch of ginger, and it's not, we don't really want a strong ginger flavor, but ginger is an excellent flavor. And as you can tell, it's getting more and more red. It's getting a nice color. Someone said, can you explain the difference between starch in wheat versus starch in amaranth or spelt? Well, amaranth and spelt grow naturally, and wheat is a hybrid that's just like a mutant that's been created to sell. So it's not created for health, it's created for money. And amaranth is just wild. It grows out in the field. Actually, it grows at my dad's house, all over the place. And I didn't even know what it was growing up. And then recently, now that I know what it is, I saw it growing at his house and was like, that's amaranth. That's crazy. And it's like $9 a flake in the store. But it's just growing wild everywhere. Very interesting, isn't it? All right. So I'm gonna add the tamarind puree. Vinegar, I mean, this is basically to replace vinegar, because if you know what's in ketchup, it's basically tomato paste, corn syrup, vinegar, and chemicals. Obviously, ours is going to be way better than whatever is available in the store. You know, and this much alkaline ketchup would probably cost $100 somewhere. You know, this is just something that you have to make yourself unless I start bottling it, which is very unlikely. Unless you want to take a giant risk, and the food industry doesn't necessarily value health as much as we do. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of tamarind, which is a lot. And it says robust flavor, that's for sure. This is going to change the color, but oh well. It's going to be sour. Don't want to waste any of that, that's for sure. All right. You have to get some of that, some of this. Yeah, this is nice. It was a little bit pricey, but honestly, it's lasting me months. You don't really need a lot. All right, this is starting to look more like, is there a link for that? No, but I could find you one. I'll have to make a mental note, or if you're in my Facebook group, then you can ask me in there and I will definitely find it for you. My pleasure. This is starting to look more like barbecue sauce, but oh well. If you do want it to be barbecue sauce, just make sure to add 1/4 to 1/2 of an onion. And then there's some other tricks to barbecue sauce too. I used to have a blog. I'm gonna put it back up this year. Maybe when I get a little bit more subscribers, I'll put the blog back up, because the platform I had it on, it costs money. It's not a free blog, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have just left it up. But I have a lot of recipes on there, and I have over 60 recipes on this channel already, if you didn't know. I plan on having 100 recipes on this channel this year. One of my goals. Also, I don't see any thumbs up out there yet. If you have a clicker finger, I would appreciate it. That way YouTube will show my video to more people. Otherwise, if nobody likes it, then they'll think that it's terrible. And I hope it's not terrible. It smells really good. I know that the ketchup will be amazing because I've made it several times. It's been a while since I made it though. I'm going to give it a little bit of a taste. You have subscribed? Awesome. Thank you. You rock. Welcome to the family. We have an awesome community of people. I don't have a name for it yet, but I have a name for the bioelectric challenge. I'm thinking about doing, oh, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I see that. I see you. I appreciate that. I have a bioelectric challenge. It's a group on Facebook. It's free. And it's a 7-day thing where I do free coaching. It's just a little, I mean, it's nothing too fancy, but it's nice if you want to join the group and get some free info more along the lines of all the other stuff we do on this channel. And then it's just a different setting as well. But what's the Facebook? The Facebook group, there's two. One of them is called Bioelectric Awakening. And the one I was just talking about the food, is kind of like a challenge, like for people who want to go vegan or want to go alkaline, or maybe they don't even know about that, but they want to get healthy or whatever it is. That free group is open for anyone like that that's interested in finding out more info about going alkaline, quote unquote, or eating vegan or this or that kind of stuff. I posted heavily in there last year. This year I'm doing more on YouTube, but there are people joining those groups still, and it's a good way to get a hold of me. Especially, the reason I brought that up was because you had a question, and I'll forget because the live questions for me, they show up on my screen right here, and then they just disappear. So I'm not writing it down right now. So if you want to remind me later in the group, please do, and I will definitely help you out. Oh, it was the tamarind paste. So I'll make a mental note of that. All right, I'm going to try this and see how we're going. Woo! Woohoo! Habanero. Habanero's in the building. Mmm. All right, it's heading in the right direction. Actually, I think we pretty much nailed it. All we're going to have to do is sweeten it until it's almost as sweet as the agave itself, and thicken it, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm going to measure just for the sake of my viewers, but normally I would not measure. Normally I would just go for it and taste it. And I recommend that you learn how to cook by your taste, because sometimes different ingredients weigh different amounts. For example, sometimes some tomatoes will be more ripe, or some ingredient will be more thick. So I'm going to do it a fourth cup at a time. This might be all that it needs, because I already put a fourth of a cup at the beginning, but we'll see. All right. Gotta get, I got a new jug of agave. I've been using it so much in these recipe videos that I have to buy it by the gallon. And I actually saw it available by the 55-gallon drum. Like and comment if you want to see me buy a 55-gallon drum of agave. Like and comment, and if we get 1,000 likes, I'll do it. Unboxing a 55-gallon drum of agave. I can imagine in the future. You know, I want to do large events where for charity, or for, people can pay if they want. If they have money, they should. I think that's fair anyway. But if they don't, I would like to make my food available for people who are sick, especially. I mean, that's really what my cooking is for. It's for chronic disease. I mean, that's the reason I changed my whole life around to cook this way. I definitely didn't do it for convenience, that's for sure. Okay, so there was a quarter cup of agave. Let's see if that was sweet enough. What do you think? All right, that's pretty good. Spicy, but yeah, somebody said that's the reason I went alkaline. Probably, yeah, I think that's what the similarity between everyone is, that not to call anyone out, but everyone's got something. That the sooner that you shift over, the better. Unfortunately, if you don't know my story, I had to get really, really, really sick before I finally changed. So I guess I was stubborn, but thankfully better late than never. And in some ways I'm a little early, but I can't imagine being sick longer than I was. It was bad enough and it went on for years, and I don't wish that on anyone. That's why I'm working on this and sharing it with you. I used to just cook my alkaline ketchup alone or at home, but sharing it is good, because let's face it, the sauces in the store are so unhealthy. They've got corn syrup, they've got vinegar, which are both acid and bad for you. And then what? Your body's going to have to work overtime trying to filter it through your liver and digestion, and it's just going to get overloaded. And then disease starts sprouting up. So we're here to heal and taste good at the same time. What could be better than healing and then eating the best things ever? Because this is way better than any junk in the grocery store. I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn. Something I've noticed over the years is that I haven't eaten at a restaurant in about 3 years. Because, and my cooking is better than almost any restaurant I've ever been to. It's up there. It's up there as good as anything I've ever had. It's because of the ingredients. So you can do it too. It's not just me. The ingredient quality does most of the work. The trick is the ripe ingredients, the alkaline ingredients. That's what's natural. That's what's going to taste the best. The good flavor you're tasting is the nutrition. The minerals and everything. If you have GMO food that's been sprayed with a bunch of stuff, it doesn't taste as good. It's bigger, it's fluffier, it has no flavor. You know, I remember when we started getting those GMO strawberries when I was a child, like probably like 20 years ago. The strawberries went from being like, you know, we grew strawberries when I was a kid a couple times. You know, wild strawberries are like that big. And then you get them at the store now, and we took a picture of one last year that was as big as one of our hand, a strawberry. And they don't have any flavor. They just taste like sponge. That's not high quality. So I mentioned in some of my other videos, the smaller the fruit, the better. The more packed in the nutrients are. And I like the cherry tomatoes better. If you make your ketchup with cherry tomatoes, it'll be that much sweeter and that much better. I made them with plum tomatoes this time, but just that's my tip of the day for sure. All right, this is tasting really good. It is tasting a little barbecue-y. I think it could pass as barbecue or ketchup. What I would do to seal the deal as a barbecue is the salt. I would add smoked sea salt. Have you ever seen smoked sea salt? I don't think there's any kind of liquid smoke that would be acceptable. There's probably just toxic chemicals in it. But smoked sea salt is adds a little bit of a zing of flavor. And you can even get different types of smoked sea salt. I used to have a bunch of it. Oh, you have a huge bag of it? Carla, you rock. Come to my kitchen. Someday we'll have a community kitchen where we can all have a giant buffet of alkaline food. That would be heaven on earth. At the beach. I just gave away my life goal. You're in New York City? Awesome. My sister is in New York. She manages a few Mexican restaurants, and they're excellent. I was definitely eating there before I went alkaline. I think the only thing acceptable now is the guac, which is fantastic. All right, this is tasting really, really good. Wow. Wow, I'm very happy with it so far. It might be able to go a little sweeter, but honestly, some people I think would like it as is. And what I'm going to be making a meatloaf with this later today. I better start making it now because it's getting late. So I hope this is ready in time because it's going to go in the meatloaf. And I'm going to dip it in it also. And yes, it's going to be amazing, I can already tell. So stay tuned for that. I don't know if I'm going to do the meatloaf live or not, because I have to bake it for, I'm going to have to bake it for an hour. In the past I did that with the brownies, and then I just did a Q&A. But since I'm doing this right now, I don't know if I can, my phone's going to end up dying and everything like that. Upgrades in equipment are needed, but they are coming, so stay tuned, and thank you for all the support. I'm going to get some new lighting that can actually fit in this kitchen. That'll be an upgrade. And oh man, you want to hear one of my New Year's resolutions? Some of you are really gonna like this. some of you have been asking me for this, and it's gonna happen this year. I'm gonna make a cookbook. So I just need pictures and measurements on all the recipes, which is a lot of work, but you can look forward to that. So a lot of people have been asking me for a cookbook because, you know, they want a physical thing when they're cooking something. You know, not everyone holds their phone while they cook. I know that young people are probably used to just looking on the internet. But, you know, in the way of books, paper books, I am old-fashioned and I prefer the hardcover paper books, or just a paperback is fine, but I think I'm going to try to do it hardcover just because, you know, if it's worth making, it better be good. I don't want to just, it's not worth it if it's just a flimsy, badly made book. If I'm going to go to all the work of making it into a book rather than just watching my YouTube channel, then I'm going to go all out and make it hardcover. We'll see. We'll see. But if you would like that, give me a thumbs up and I will give them away. I'm sure I'll do a giveaway. I did a giveaway last time for a really cool book. I'm going to do another one too. And I would give away this ketchup, but you would have to you would have to be local. And since I didn't announce where I am, no one knows where is local. Although I am in a good area for vegetarian and vegan things. There is a pretty big Facebook group for vegans and vegetarians in my area, but I haven't really entered into the scene. And if you, as you might know from my other videos, that I was living in Asia for 6 years, so I'm not really, I've been back for a while, but it took me a while to settle, to like find a good spot to settle down. I had to look around a lot. And you know how much of a research fanatic I am if you've watched some of my other videos, that I research nonstop. So in order to find a place to live, oh man, I had to really research like crazy. But the good news is that the place that we're at finally is awesome. Other than it's really cold, but it's really a great place, and I'm happy. Oh, thank God, because I was bouncing around the world there for a while, and it takes a lot out of you going back and forth. First I lived on an island, then I moved to the mainland, then I moved all the way back to the US, and I remember landing in New York and then taking a bus to the Midwest. Oh, that was just insane. From an island in Asia to a mainland, and then we stopped in China, and then it came over. I know, I'm just telling stories while I'm stirring the ketchup, but it's irrelevant to this recipe. I'll make a shorter version of this, and this would just be a time lapse. The reason I'm stirring it is so it doesn't splatter all over the place, but you don't have to stir it. Sometimes you can just leave it. Just make sure it doesn't burn. You don't want any burnt little bits at the bottom. But as you can see, as soon as I stop stirring it, it's boiling away. Also, if you want to make this into barbecue sauce, you can add oil at the end. You can add some, when you're done cooking it, you can add olive oil. You can add sesame oil. And when I make barbecue sauce, I put several types of oil at the end. It adds that some extra flavors. Should I just keep going and just make the meatloaf? Meatloaf. Vegan meatloaf. Should I just make it now? This ketchup is almost done. It just has to cook and thicken. And I'm going to taste it to make sure it doesn't need any more. It might need some more something. Let's see. I think I might add some more agave. It's sweet, it's sour, and it's spicy. So I think it might need a little bit more agave. It might be a little bit too sour. It's not too spicy though. It's been cooking down, and I mean, I can handle quite a lot of spice, but you know, some people would only want to use a half of a habanero. I do recommend habanero though, because the flavor is so good. It's so sweet, a little bit earthy. It's almost like, tastes like honey. Wow. I do want to say, for the people watching all the way to the end, who is still watching right now, comment below. I'm tempted to do another giveaway, and I want to see who is watching. If you can comment below, because we're getting towards the end and I want to give a reward for watching all the way. Thank you for watching all the way to the end if you're still tuned in. I appreciate all the subscribers recently. It's been over 100 subscribers a month. There have been 150 or so new subscribers in the last couple weeks, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm glad that you find value. And the people that give me feedback, thank you to them as well, because it helps me to hone in the videos to see what you will like to eat. I have some more videos coming up that I already recorded. I did one with the birria tacos with the consomme dipping sauce, the soup, and it was so good that I already made it again. I made that soup and it was so good. It was, to me, I kind of invented my own kind of Americanized Mexican snack, where I took the consomme from the birria tacos and made some guacamole on a toast, because I was out of the tortillas. I did make one batch of tortillas, and I'll have that video coming out. But I had some on some spelt toast, some guac, and had it with the birria consomme on the side, and I felt like it was kind of like a Mexican style grilled cheese and tomato soup. It had the same kind of vibe going on, like a nice warm soup and a nice gooey toast. Oh man, I'm hungry. I'm really hungry now, as you can tell. I'm smelling this sauce. So hopefully this will be done shortly. but it looks like it's still going. I'm going to put some agave in it. I'm not going to put an entire quarter of a cup though again. So I don't think it needs that much. And it might need actually a little bit more salt. I'll measure it just for you. This is a tablespoon. Okay. 1 tablespoon might be enough. And I will put a pinch of salt. A little bit more salt. All right, that might have been the finishing touches. So, if you get impatient, you can strain out the liquid. But I think just a little bit more thickened, it'll cook down. All right, I'm going to do another taste to see if it's any good. Another tablespoon of agave. That last time I measured the squirt, so now I don't have to. I measured how long it takes to fill a tablespoon. And then I'm a ninja like that, and that's all I need. Plus, the agave is... If you've had ketchup from McDonald's, it's pretty much just sugar with red coloring and a little bit of tang from vinegar. Wow, there we go. That is sweet now. All right, I think that's good. I think we just gotta let this thicken up. Oh, there's 3 people watching now. Welcome, whoever just tuned in. I'm cooking this ketchup down. I have seasoned it to perfection, and it's thickening up. What would you put this on? What would you like to put some alkaline ketchup on? I know that it's a little bit dark. That is from the Tamarind, which I should put back in the fridge. Everything else is fine, but yeah, as you can tell, it's too liquidy. So it keeps cooking it down, cooking it down. It tastes amazing though. Let's see a thumbs up. We've got one final ingredient that we're going to add when it's a little bit more thick. That will be the finishing touch. It's this right here. What do you think it is? I'm hiding it. That's the only thing that we didn't add yet. And then I'm going to have a whole tub of ketchup. And if you weren't tuned in before, I'm going to use this ketchup to make some vegan and alkaline meatloaf. And it's going to be quite amazing because I've already tasted it and it tastes great. What other kind of recipes would you like to see? Comment below. I've made a few of your suggestions already, and I've made even more that I didn't post yet, but I've filmed. So, and there's some more that I'm still researching, and a couple that, yeah, that I'll get to. I'm writing them down as they come in. But I got a lot of requests for different types of Mexican food. Some of them I didn't know about, so it's all good for me to learn more stuff. And I'm looking at some ancient cookbooks. There's some that are rare and are really expensive, but I'm going to save up and get them. I saw one cookbook that's $700. Obviously out of print or something, but there's some other really expensive ancient cookbooks, one's from 1,000 years ago, another one's from like 700 years ago, and I'm definitely going to be checking out some of that kind of stuff, even though they don't always list like the exact measurements or anything. I don't think they started doing that until like maybe 1400 or something. I was researching this the other day. It's fascinating. But I'm going to see if I can resurrect some old recipes. Because my theory is the farther back you go, the less hybrid ingredients there are, until finally, if you go back far enough, there's the food that we all eat. The bioelectric challenge is what I'm calling it. But really, it's what I would say is the original diet. And I know people like to make fun of stuff like that that's too logical for them, but everyone likes to believe that no, caveman ate meat. I doubt it. But, I mean, I don't have the teeth to rip apart a raw wild animal, so I think I'll just keep eating herbs and mushrooms and those foods that make me feel great. I never felt good eating meat, so their argument is not very... It's a bit foolish, and unfortunately We were talking about this. Somebody posted a picture of meat in some vegan group, and it's like, what do they think, that they think people are going to be offended? And it's like, nobody cares. It's that it makes them look like a baby, or like such a child. It's so bizarre. Once in a while I get really hateful or really bizarre trolling comments about eating meat or something, and not on these videos, but on some of my other videos that might appeal to more of an audience than just people looking for alkaline recipes. And then sometimes people will make hateful comments on there, and it's like, what do they think? Like, they're embarrassing themselves. Because at the end of the day, you can argue all you want, but at the end of the day, after all is said and done, I'm gonna be healthy, and I'm gonna feel great. And I didn't used to. When I ate differently, when I ate what everyone else eats, I was dying from that. So, I mean, I feel exponentially better. It's off the charts. It's not even comparable, and it's sad. If you think about it, it's sad that there are these people that are so brainwashed that they lash out in these childish ways. Definitely, if you're a sociologist, you can get a hoot out of it. Otherwise, it's annoying, but if you're scientific, then you can study these people and just think, oh, okay, that's cute, and then move on. And the way I deal with trolls on this channel is I immediately block them, just for your reference. Because I'm not, and I'm talking about trolls, I'm not saying that anyone that disagrees with me, you can disagree with me all you want. I'm open-minded, but it's trolling and disagreeing are different. And if you don't know the difference, then you might not be old enough to be in public. If your parents didn't teach you, then study psychology, and travel is a good way to mature, to grow up. But I'm just chit-chatting while I stir the ketchup. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Or if you would like to just sit in silence and listen to the bubbling. Wow! This is awesome, if I do say so myself. As soon as it gets a little bit thicker, I'm gonna be drinking it. No, you could drink it. It's healthy. It's a little bit spicy though. It's thickening up a little, as you can see the bubbles forming. A little bit glossy. And there's a layer of a liquid on top. We want that layer off. We want that, there's a thin liquid layer now. We want that all to cook off, so that we can just get a nice and thick, I mean, it's almost like jam if you think about it. It's almost like tomato jam. I don't know the origin of the word ketchup, but I know that you can spell it like 3 different ways. I remember reading that as a child. You can spell it with a C. You can spell it 2 different ways with a C. You can spell it with a K. So I don't know who coined the word. If you look it up right now, let me know who invented the word ketchup and where did it come from. I'm curious now after I spent an hour making it. So there's this really liquidy layer on top that needs to cook off, and it will leave the nice and thick spicy tomato paste, sweetened tomato paste. And it also is a little bit sour from the tamarind. Yeah, it's getting nice and thick at the bottom. Got to make sure it doesn't burn though. The problem is when you keep stirring it, now it's going to send hot molten bubbles all over and dirty the stove instantly. But that's the price you pay. If I had an industrial stove that's all stainless steel, it would be nice. In the future, I would love to do these videos in a professional kitchen. If you want to see that, give it a thumbs up and help out the channel. And we'll get there. We'll get there. If not this year, next year. But I think it'll come soon. I've thought about renting a kitchen just for the videos. You could maybe, I mean, there are a lot of restaurants closing down, unfortunately. Well, actually, who am I kidding? I don't care. They sell meat and sugar and toxic food to people. But I guess, I mean, that's not the reason they're closing. The reason they're closing is a shame, but that's too bad. And I feel bad even if people do eat meat, it's not that I used to. I mean, sometimes I cut people some slack. I'm pretty open-minded in general. Looking good. Getting nice and thick. That's pretty thick, right? Is it thick enough to be ketchup? Let's see. No. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you could strain this and strain the tomato seeds out. I'm not going to because I missed that proper timing. Someone just asked, can I make some alkaline soul food? Yeah, I'd love to. What do you recommend? I did make some southern style food, like I made some biscuits and sausage gravy. What kind of, you'll have to educate me on soul food. And even though I've had some at some point. My dad actually liked soul food. But, as a kid, I wasn't really paying attention. But, yeah, let me know something specific, and I'll definitely do my best. Macaroni pie. Interesting. Macaroni pie. Wow, I haven't heard of that before. Yeah, remind me that later if I need to write that down on my list of recipe ideas. Oh, like macaroni and cheese? Okay, someone else baked mac and cheese. Someone else has suggested me to do that. And I was gonna do it for Christmas, but I was overloaded with what I was making. And I was making all that marshmallow and everything, and then I made the birria tacos and tortillas. So I had too much to do, but I partially made it for Christmas and didn't finish it. So yeah, I'm gonna attempt that. It's gonna be challenging though, because the videos I've seen have like 6 pounds of cheese, every type of cheese, and 2 sticks of butter. So it's going to be interesting. I definitely think I can do it, but I'll just have to get to it. I'll try to do that this week. I like to do people's suggestions as soon as possible so that it's not sitting on the shelf too long. But that baked macaroni one, I didn't have the right size pan, but now I do. So I was waiting to get that bigger pan, and I got one. So yeah, good suggestion, and I will definitely make it. Keep recommending stuff, because I'm not sure what kind of soul food that people want, so just let me know, and I'll do my best. And if you're just tuning in, thank you for the thumbs up. Whoever has thumbsed it up so far, I appreciate it. It helps out the channel. And wow, I think I'm gonna have to turn this off soon. Ow, ow! It's flaming liquid magma on me. Okay. So just turned it off. Let's see how thick it is. It might thicken a little bit as it cools down. I'm going to use a half a cup of this in the meatloaf recipe that I make, and then I'm going to put some on top of it as well. If it's not thickened up in the fridge when it cools, or just when it's sitting out, then you could just cook it down a little bit more. But I've been live for over an hour, so I think that's good enough. And I'm going to taste it. Also, what was your question just there? I didn't, it disappeared. Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, this turned out good. I'm excited to dip some stuff in it and to make meatloaf out of it. All right, all that cooking, and all I have is sauce. So we're going to use this to make the next recipe. I didn't see your last question, but thank you for whoever thumbs up. Oh, what juices do you recommend to drink? The fruits on that food list. If you don't have the food list, it's in the group, because you're a member of the private group. It's in there, and it's in the group, the Bioelectric Challenge. So there's a list of foods in there, and you would only want to juice what's on that list. Stick to fruits and vegetables. Nothing fatty, except you could have hemp milk, which is just hemp seeds blended in spring water and then strained. You could put like 1 date in there to sweeten it a tiny bit. Hope that helps. And if you have any more questions, Corey, ask in the group or send me a message. And also anyone else who's watching, I do have a 12-week transformation program if you want to go alkaline and go for it all the way. And it's a new year. I mean, today's the 1st. If your New Year's resolution is to go alkaline, you probably want to join my program. There's a link in the bottom of the description, but I only accept clients that are really serious about doing it, so no slackers. But that being said, the clients I do have are amazing, so keep up the good work. I'll see you in the group for everyone that joined. I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy your ketchup. Let me know what you have the ketchup on. Look, there's splatters all over the place. Oh well, it was well worth it. This is gonna last a few weeks probably, but definitely since it's all natural ingredients, it won't keep forever. However, there are some preservatives in it, such as salt, tamarind, and spices that will preserve it for a little while. But keep in mind that when you make your own healthy food out of fresh ingredients, it won't last forever like the artificial food at the store that has been made with artificial chemicals. So this will last for probably 3 weeks, but definitely if it's good, it will be gone before then. So thank you so much for all the support. I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to be making meatloaf with this, and I'll see you then. Peace.